Hello, good morning, you guys, and welcome to Real Talk with Tamara. As you guys come into the room, please do hit the like button. Also, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. I hope that you guys are doing okay. I know that I am. I always express the importance of hitting the like button because the like button helps to keep the video in the algorithm. So make sure you guys please like, share, subscribe, comment, and all of those great things. You guys, I wanted to talk about Young Dolph's wife. Okay, Mia J is suing some of his business cards. She is the administrator of his estate. And I know a lot of people are going to say she's not his wife or whatever. She was his fiance. As far as I'm concerned, she was his wife. Okay. This has been going on now probably for about a year. Okay. I think it's just starting to really surface. You haven't really heard them speak a lot about it. It's starting to circulate in the media. Okay. Um, and I want to pull up. Okay, so it was filed on August 7th, 2024. I do believe I heard Justice Fidel, okay, speak about that. Stephen spoke about it also a while ago. And I think now it's just starting to surface in the media. And it says that Jameer Jardine versus Jeremiel Moore. Now, Jeremiel Moore is Daddy-O, okay? And it's an service execution complaint for damages, okay? Stuff like this happens in estates, okay? When I guess there has been some type of something has not been satisfied. And as the administrator, she has a right to do that. Dolph made her that left her as administrator. He trusted her and left her as administrator over his estate. You have not heard Young Dolph's parents or in his sister in his sisters or anybody have any issues with that. So evidently whatever it was that he said for her to do, she has done. Okay, and he trusted her to be fair enough to do it, okay? And now what is going on, because she has these children, she is suing, and I see a lot of people, okay, in this. Okay, the defendant is one is Daddy O. She's also suing 1870 Publishing LLC. That's a defendant. And let me see. Okay, who owns that? That 1870 Publishing. Y'all know I be wanting to know everything. So because we learning this together. We want to get to the bottom of this. Okay, of what is going on. Hopefully, it could be worked out. It says 1870 Publishing Group, Cedar Point Amusement Park. It's an independent. Okay. Okay, music publishing. It's from out of Memphis. Okay. So let's see. 1870 Publishing Attorney Kendall Nance. Okay, Attorney Kendall Nance. 3225 Lemura Road, 38128. 38128. I don't know why it seemed like that would be around the north area, like Fraser or whatever. We get ready to see, y'all. Bear with me. See, when I didn't know I was gonna get into all this, okay? But just let's figure this out together. I'm trying to see what's going on. I be liking every little detail. I'm gonna try not to make this video too long, okay? And then we're gonna get into what could really be going on. Read some more stuff. Ooh, okay. All right. Um, okay. Hmm. All right. Um, let's see. Attorney Kendall Nance. Um, let's see here. Okay, so that attorney is now working for the Shelby County District Attorney's Office. Okay. So now she's a prosecutor. Okay. Um yeah, hold on. Let me. Okay, but it's saying that that company is a defendant. Okay. Paper Route Touring LLC. Okay. Paper Route Touring LLC. Let's see here. It says a live event and touring business affiliated with the Memphis-based hip hop Paper Route Empire. Hold on, you all. I'm trying to see who owns it because it could be affiliated with Paper Route Empire, but it could be owned by someone else. I really should have did the research before I got on here. Now I'm forced to do the research because I'm curious. Okay, while I am on here. Okay, hold on one second. I just want to see who owns it. Okay, so Daddy-O owns that. Okay, so she's suing that entity because it says it's owned by Daddy-O, is the registered owner and the principal and the manager. Okay, so he owns that solely. Daddy-O does. Okay, Paper Route Empire LLC. Let's see. Okay. So Young Dolph is still the co-owner. So Young Dolph was the co-owner and Daddy-O was the other owner. It says the current leadership. It says founded in 2010 by Young Dolph, Adolph Thornton, and Jeremiah Moore. Current leadership managed and led day to day by CEO Daddy-O, who acts as the registered agent and principal on the record in Tennessee. Okay. Following Young Dolph's passing in 2021, Daddy-O continues to run the independent Memphis-based label. Okay, so of course, I guess that would be expected. But Young Dolph part would still go to whoever he willed that to, right? Okay, the chancellor, I guess that is the court, the judge. Okay, and then it's the petitioner's attorneys and all of that. Plaintiff attorney, defendant attorney. Okay, it says the complaint is Verified complaint for breach of contract, breach of fiduciary duty, conversion, equitable accounting, receivership, and other injunctive inequitable belief. Let's break that down. Okay. Let's break that down. Okay. So the verified complaint is a complaint. A complaint is the document that starts a civil suit. Okay. So it's a civil lawsuit. It was verified, so that means that the person that is filing it has sworn. So she's sworn and affirmed that her allegations are factual and true to the best of her knowledge. So this is not a simple letter of complaint. The administrator, who is Mia J, is asking the court to intervene on this situation. The breach of contract, the estate is claiming that someone failed to honor a contract or agreement involving the estate. For example, the contract required someone to pay money to the estate and they didn't, or someone was supposed to transfer property but they didn't, or someone violated an agreement made with the deceased or the estate. Okay, and I guess she's saying that this is what allegedly, she's alleging that this is what my husband did. Okay, y'all know I be calling daddy on my husband. Him and some of these other people that are defendants, because there's someone, whoever owned that publishing company was a lawyer, working in capital, whatever, because lawyers be specializing in all types of different stuff. Now she's working as a DA. She's working at the district attorney's office. Okay. So conversion, it says this generally means that the estate is claiming that someone wrongfully took, used, possessed, or exercised control over property belonging to the estate. Okay. This is what she's alleging. Okay, that someone wrongfully took, used, possessed, or exercised control over property that belonged to Young Dolph's estate. For example, if estate money was supposed to remain estate property, but someone transferred it to themselves, the administrator could potentially characterize that as conversion. Equitable accounting, this is basically the estate saying we need the court to make this person show us exactly what happened to these monies and properties or properties. The administrator may be asking for a detailed accounting. So she's wanting for Daddy O, she's wanting the court to make Daddy O and his company show her a printout of bank accounts, of deposits and withdrawals, of properties, of sales, of expenses, of transfers, of payments to individuals, and other financial transactions. This can be especially important when the administrator believes estate assets are missing or the records aren't being provided. So she's wanting, and she should be, because he left her as the administrator. His kids and his family is supposed to get his part. So if she feels that she's not getting documentation and being kept up on, proper documentation of what is going on, she has a right to ask the court to intervene. Receivership. This is a stronger court remedy. The administrator may be asking the judge to appoint a receiver, an independent person who can take control of certain properties or assets or businesses or financial affairs while the lawsuit is pending. In other words, the administrator may be asking the court, we don't trust the current person or entity controlling these assets to continue controlling them while the dispute is being litigated. A receiver is not automatically appointed just because the complainant requests one. The judge has to determine whether the legal requirements are satisfied. So these are all just allegations. And so, this is what is going on. Other injunctive and equitable relief. This means the administrator is also asking the court for orders preventing certain conduct or requiring certain actions. For example, depending on the facts, the administrator could ask the court to order someone to stop transferring estate property, stop selling or disposing of assets. I'm not saying this is what it is, but these are examples, okay? Turn over property or records, preserve financial records, stop using estate funds, or take some action necessary to protect the estate. It could be any of these. It could be any of them, okay? I'm not saying that it is, but it could be. What this means overall, put together, the title is essentially saying, okay, the estate claims that someone violated an agreement. This is what she's saying, basically. The estate claims that someone violated an agreement and or legal duties, wrongfully controlled or took estate property, and has not properly accounted for what happened to the assets. We want the court to invest there, but she's basically saying we want the court to investigate and compel an accounting, recover the estate's properties and or money, and potentially put an independent person in control of the assets while the case is resolved. One very important distinction, okay? The title of the complainant tells you what the administrator is alleging and what remedies they are requesting. It does not mean the administrator has already proven those allegations. To understand what is actually happening in the particular estate, the most important sections would be who is being sued, what property or money is alleging is missing, what the defendant allegedly did, what contract is allegedly violated, what the defendant supposedly owed a fiduciary duty, what the administrator is asking the judge to order, rather the administrator is asking for an emergency, temporary restraining order or receiver. Okay? So that basically breaks that down, okay? Um, and this happens, It doesn't mean one that he's stealing, okay? It just means that it could just mean she wants to be kept abreast of what is going on. I'm sure young Doc was very involved when they were business partners. And now that he's running the day-to-day operation, maybe he feels like she's not his equal. That happens with men a lot. Okay, well, he could be doing what he's supposed to, and she may be just saying, maybe he is, but I want to be able. I want to see the bottom lines. Okay, I want to print out. I want to be able to see. Also, I want to be involved because I am the administrator. It could just be she does not feel that she has been made inclusive. Not saying that she is not getting what she is supposed to get. Maybe she's not. But she just want to see and ensure that. I think, anybody should want that, right? I don't see anything wrong with that. Maybe he is doing it, but I want to be able to see this, the checks. She wants to check the check and the balances, and which, Mia J is a very smart woman. And so I know with a lot of men, and maybe Daddy, I don't know how deep this goes. So maybe in his defense, maybe, I'm just going to do what I'm supposed to do. Here's Dog's part. Hey, I'm taking care of everything. Mia J, and some people are okay with that. Okay, well, he gives me mine. I don't really know what goes on with the paperwork. But Mia J is a different type of woman. She's very intelligent. I want to see the checks and the balances. Okay, he could be, but I want to see that. But then, she's also saying a breach of contract. What does that mean? It could mean that she's not getting some of those things, or she is not being made inclusive as it relates to the checks and the balances. Okay, so it could be something as simple as that. All right, because we know Dolph left his people well off, and he left her as the administrator, so she definitely has a right, because an administrator What an administrator does is, y'all, I'm getting hoarse because I've been in two different climates, is distribute. You know, like I told y'all, what my dad's wife was supposed to do, but instead, what he left her as the administrator supposedly. Okay, but what her and her daughters, which are my half sisters, did was, when he got down sick, basically comatose, they changed a lot of stuff, right? They kind of kept us out of the loop because they knew that I would ask a lot of questions, so they didn't tell us nothing, right? And then they were able to change a lot. And she did not administer, which is why she over there half dead now, sick, and she's on toes, and she's still evil with it. Okay, and but he has trusted Mia J to do that, and it seems to me that she is taking care of it. I don't know what all he distributed to his family, but he said that his stuff was circulating in his immediate family, and his kids would be taken care of. And she takes care of his children, and she has a right to ensure that they are getting what they're supposed to get, and it's being administered. She do her part. You don't see his family suing her. Okay, so evidently, what is supposed to be happening is happening. She is going after a daddy O, and it could just be because she wants to see the checks and the balances. Okay, some, decisions as it relates to stuff is not to really be made unless she's involved, because it seems to me she's over young Dolph part of it. Okay, so it could be, she wants to be made inclusive just to see the checks and the balances and all of that. Hey, hopefully this will work out. Hopefully all of this will work out. Okay, I would, I know people make up all types of stuff, and folks have been saying things since about him for the longest about Daddy O. And I don't know him. I just call him my husband. But and also, I think Hernandez Govan kind of made it weird when he got on there on the interviews, calling him Big Daddy, talking about me and Big Daddy have had conversations through other people and we straight and all of that. I don't know if that's true or not, because everybody knows that Govan had a part in this, and I'm sure Daddy-O being in the streets, he knows it too. So I don't know, if that would be true about Daddy-O wanted to have. The conversation could have been, I want to know, did he do this? Was he involved? But I don't think Daddy-O would ask him if he was involved, because I think Daddy-O knows that he was involved. So I don't know. That's weird. I don't. I just think with quit them, they don't want to say anything bad about Daddy O, because they know Daddy O ain't gonna play with them. So they gotta make it gravy. When Black Youngster was doing all that mess, he didn't never say anything, about Daddy O. So they never popped that Daddy O or nothing like that. Okay. But I mean, but this is interesting. We're gonna see. Hopefully they can get this thing worked out. Um, I'm hoping and praying that they can get this thing worked out. And Daddy, will just make her inclusive. Darling, make her inclusive if you're not making her inclusive, so that she can see the checks and the balances and let this thing work out. There's money in the plenty. Okay? There's money in the plenty. Give young Dolph family their part, if you're not doing that. Or just make them inclusive. Don't let there be any breaches and all of that, so that everything can go the way that it should go. Okay? Anyway, sure. I just want to say that. Okay? But I want you all to please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to support the channel, you could definitely support the channel via Cash App.